Do something now that your future self will be thankful for. Wait, what? Okay. Let's actually review this again. Do something now that your future self will be thankful for. Hello there, folks, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, a place where I discuss different topics about spirituality and, well, deeper introspection and, well, stomping illusions and different thoughts that people have in order to help people help themselves, bring them to a, let's say, much brighter way of seeing things. And today we're gonna take a new concept by Siege. It's called the future self. Okay, now this is a very hideous compound, and I'm sure it will piss a lot of people off because, well, once people become identified with something, they will fight desperately for that. Now, why do I see the future self concept as a very hideous concept? Well, first of all, let's actually analyze both of the words, right? You have the word future and you have the word self. Now, future and past, okay, we know that time actually has three tenses, right? We know this from grammar. Many languages actually have it. Some may actually lack the future. For example, Japanese language doesn't have a future tense, but it can be derived from the sense of the sentence. Now, is it good that they don't have a future sense, or is it bad? Well, I haven't seen a Japanese person die because they couldn't express the future, right? They have other ways of expressing it, and one can understand it from the context. But the point is, why is it so important that people place attention on the future? And of course, in many cases, people place attention on the past. Now, the point is, what are these two? Well, usually I call these as the distractive tenses, okay? Because they cause disruptions in the mind. They are distractions, okay? Ultimately, they are distractions. People who prefer living in the moment and placing an accent on the way they feel, they only know one single tense, which is the present, and that's where life actually takes place. There, in the presence. In the presence of your own being, and that only happens in the present tense. Now the point is, why do we have a past and a future? Well, we need to relate to the past because, well, that's where a lot of the lessons are, and that's where a lot of the hurt has taken place. Attachments, anger, hurt, guilt, shame all take place in the past, and there is an attachment that keeps you back, locked into the past, right? And that is why in Hindu wisdom it is called as karma. Now, karma is called actually like a wheel, right? As I've said in the previous video about habits, it is basically a wheel because it is spinning constantly and it doesn't allow you to escape from its grasp, right? And technically your past also becomes your future because both are just distractions. You're always thinking about a past moment. Every time you think about it, you're adding a new layer to it, and so therefore every time you think about something in the past, it's never the exact moment, it's just the moment as it was, but with all the layerings and with all the justifications you've made, because there are always justifications in the victim set, right? In the victimhood mindset, let's call it on its longer name. So the point is, the past is that which happened, right? And of course it cannot be contested nor changed. It can be changed if you change the history and the way you write things down, because whoever controls the history books also controls the, let's say, the destiny of most people, but to a certain extent. Now, of course, the past cannot be, once the past is fully known, it can no longer be, changed. There is no such thing to change the past. There is no such thing as going back into the past and change your ideas, right? These are just thoughts that, the mind comes up with in a way, let's call it in desperation, because the mind is interested in, solving all so many things, right? And the mind is capable of doing that. The mind is also capable of fabricating its own pieces of evidence. The only superpower of the mind is that of presenting you literally anything in such a way that you believe it is true. The greatest force in this is dreams, but again, many people are too attached to giving significance to their own dreams, right? There may be not, but the dream is something tailored to each and every one, and well, the reason why I'm no longer doing dream interpretations. Of course, some ideas may be given, but again, each dream is tailored to a certain person. Usually dreams present, liberation from certain things that have been pissing you off, right? So it is basically a liberation from the meaning attached to the past. Now, opposing to the past, which already happened, the future is, as many would say, about to happen, right? Now, the future never happened, okay? The future never happens, okay? It is in 99.9% of the situations just a probability. And the probability is a justification of the mind, because the more knowledge you feel you have, the stronger you feel that you are. But again, this feeling is usually nothing else than a belief, because you believe that you are somewhat like that, right? Like even in supermarkets where I go, they tell you from time to time wear a face mask so that you believe you are safe, right? They don't tell you that so that you feel safe. They tell you like specifically so that you believe that you are safe. Because, well, if you feel that you are safe or if you believe you are safe, it's basically the same thing. They're perfect synonyms, because the belief is nothing else than a feeling. A feeling is the same thing as a thought. It's just that their frequency is much different, but, well, it's basically the same thing. A thought is very fast, and the mind is also very fast. It's like a processor, right? It can change itself in so many ways, especially the more the person is capable of distracting themselves, because so many people can easily distract themselves. They jump from one word, from one thought to another, and, well, that goes to show how easily the mind can change itself. So technically there is no structure or rigorosity by default in the mind. The emotions are the same thing. They're still a thought, but the point is they are far more sluggish. When an emotion settles, it's gonna take a while until it dissipates, right? When depression or sadness or at times even happiness, when these kick in, they will stay for a while, and especially the lower vibrational ones. Now, it may sound very funny, but, as I was creating a character of mine, a quote that, well, that character would actually say in their game was sent to me, most likely, let's say, by divine guidance or something, and the quote went like, you only feel emotions only when there is enough of that, right? So naturally you shouldn't be feeling any emotions, right? Because emotions aren't bad, but the point is you only feel enough of emotions when you have enough of those, right? You don't giggle at the first thing that you hear, right? You need to laugh, right? You need a lot of things to trigger your laughter, right? A good joke or different things, right? So the point about this is quite very easy to understand. Well, wait just 1 second. So honestly, the point about the future is that the future hasn't happened. So the question is, why do you think there is a future self, and also the future self that wants to welcome you or to thank you, right? Because if there is no such thing as the future, right, it will happen. Things will happen, but things only happen in the present. The future is only needed for ignorance because it provides a certain sense of comfort, right? So, yes, all this being said, well, hopefully you did understand the point. You are appreciated. Take care of yourselves. Ferenc on board signing out.